Welcome back. I'm Kenny Ballantyne and you are watching part 5 of our 5-part video training series, Let's Bring Childhood Back Outside. So far we have discussed how to build an outdoor childhood from the bottom up. We have learned the consequences of an indoor childhood and the benefits of an outdoor one. We have told the story of how this major shift in the way children play and are raised came about. And today we will be discussing what we can do now to help bring childhood back outside every day of the year. And please remember to watch until the very end for a special surprise for completing this program. Today I'm going to share with you my 5 tips for getting kids to unplug and go outside. These are all tips that work. They have been proven in my own family and in families, classrooms, and organizations around the world. I promise you that if you adopt any one or all of these tips into your life, you will see a dramatic shift away from the indoor world and towards nature. Tip number 1 is to be an outdoor role model. Children are experts at mimicry. They watch their role models and want to do what they see their role models doing. This is how we learn some of our most foundational life lessons. And I am sure you are well aware that as a parent, your actions have a stronger influence on your children than your words ever can. So let's consider some of the examples that are most commonly modeled for children today. In an average day, children may see their role model spending hours at a computer screen or in front of a television. They also see role models continuously attached to their mobile devices. Many parents from my own generation are gamers and model hours and hours of video games. Most importantly, they are seeing role models live an adult life that is indoors and stationary. How can we expect kids to do anything that we are not willing to do ourselves? How can they even know where to start if they don't have a role model to follow? We need to demonstrate to them that we value time outside and physical activity more than we value the iPhone. Let them see you turn that phone off. Let them see you ignore an incoming call or text. And here's the essential part. Let them see you get your hands dirty. Get outside yourself and take some time to be a kid. Work with your hands, run across a field, pick up a ladybug, or turn over a rock. Whether in the classroom or in the home, there are endless things you can do. The point is that every day you are going to model unplugging and going outside to make discoveries and move your body. Don't just tell them, show them that there is a better way to live and that you value and prioritize the real world over the virtual one. Tip number 2 is to prescribe a daily dose of nature. Parents have been fighting the technology addiction battle for a long time. And now that battle is also spilling into the classroom. The oldest and most commonly used method for dealing with all this screen time has been limitation. Usually this means that parents put a limit on the amount of time their child can spend on the computer, TV, or video game each day. Now there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I believe there should be healthy limits to everything in our lives. But do's are much more powerful than don'ts, especially with kids. That's why I encourage all parents to prescribe a daily dose of nature for their kids. Don't just set a limit on the amount of screen time, set a minimum requirement for outdoor time. One kid I interviewed in Nature Kids had come up with his own screen time to outdoor time ratio. His words were that if you add up all of the time you spend playing video games and then double it, that's how much time you should spend outside. So by his ratio, if your kids are limited to a half an hour of screen time, you should prescribe an hour of outdoor time. Perhaps your ratio is 1:1 or 1:3. It's up to you. I know many parents who go to great lengths to make sure that their kids get their vitamins every day. And they are even more diligent when it comes to making sure their kids take important medications every day. Well, I am here to tell you that time outdoors is as important to a child's physical and mental development as food, shelter, and love. So tip number 2 is to treat time outside like an essential vitamin. Do your due diligence and make sure your kids get their daily dose of nature every day. Tip number 3 is to start a vintage social network. It has always been ironic to me that most of the time we spend using social networks online is time spent alone in a darkened room. What is the opposite of being in a society or in a social situation? It's being alone. Being alone in a dark room is probably as far from society, community, and friendship that I can get. Social networks offer the illusion of society and friendship, but in reality they are so far from the real thing that it is almost laughable. The sad part is that for many of us, kids included, the lines between the two are blurred. I've spoken to many kids who spend more time with their friends in virtual settings than in real ones. Thus, screen time takes on yet another role. The screen is not just entertainment or information, it's also where your friends are. So today, even playing with friends has been swallowed up by electronic media. If we are already going to go the extra mile to bring our kids outside, why not make the outside time all the more fun by bringing some friends with you? Bring social networks back into the parks, the neighborhood, and the woods. Bring a friend outside, or better yet, bring 10 of them. Break your child's friends out of the digital prison and teach them what a real network of friends can be all about. A great way to begin is to start a family nature club, and you can find a link to some wonderful resources on how to start a family nature club on the bottom of this page. Tip number 4 is to give kids permission to play. A child's world is dominated by rules. In fact, one of the top reasons teenagers claim they spend so much time on video games is that in a virtual world they can do anything they want. They could play for hours on end in a world without rules. The natural world, on the other hand, can come across as the complete opposite. Don't step on the grass. Don't climb so high. Don't run. Stay off the rocks. Stay on the path. Don't get dirty. Don't. Kids need permission to play. I hear parents all the time saying things like, I want my kids to spend more time outside, but they just don't want to. To which I respond, what are they allowed to do outside? Often, outdoor play spaces are so guarded by rules that it strips the place of all of its fun and impact. It is controversial to say it, but I believe this is one area that the environmentalists are getting things wrong. They want to encourage young people to come out and experience nature so that someday there will be a next generation of environmentalists. But once those kids actually make it out to the nature spot, they govern the behavior of those kids with so many rules that it effectively turns the place into a museum. While producing Nature Kids, I met one naturalist who takes the opposite stance when it comes to engaging with nature.
Exploring out in a place like this is a tremendous amount of fun. I think one reason why we don't think of it as fun is that we tell kids, look, but don't touch. Stay on the outside of it and just sort of peer in and don't get involved with it. What I recommend that people do is get yourself out in the middle of the marsh, tromp around, get muddy. I try to minimize my impact on all the species out there, and certainly if there's a really fragile part of a system, I'm not going to be jumping up and down on top of that. But within those parameters, get out there and explore. Throw yourself into it. Get yourself wet, get yourself dirty. The worst that could happen is you get wet and dirty, and it's okay. And that makes it a lot more fun. It also allows you to discover and experience many, many more things. So if you're thinking to yourself, ooh, I don't want to get out there, just often, right off the bat, get yourself just a little bit dirty. The more that we have opportunities to get out here, explore, to romp around, to play around, to celebrate, to have fun, to wonder about things, to make our own discoveries, to fall down in the mud sometimes and get ourselves back up, to get a boot stuck in the mud and pull it out. Those adventures, that's what childhood is made out of, is getting stuck in the mud. It's like, this is this quicksand? What's going on here? Like, I'm kind of wanting to kind of experience this right now. You know, I come out here a little bit deeper and look at like what happens. Like you were thinking like, oh no, don't go above the boot. But you know, sometimes the world becomes most interesting when your boot sinks all the way in and then you are stuck. And now what are you gonna do about it? This is where childhood adventures come from.
Tip number 5, use technology as a tool. Computers, cameras, iPads, and phones are not the enemy. They all have tremendous potential for helping us connect more deeply and more effectively with the natural world. The trick is to keep technology in its place and then to use it as such. If your kids simply can't put the iPhone down, then let them bring it with them. Did you know that there are apps that will identify constellations and planets in the night sky? There are even apps that help identify birds, plants, and animal tracks. Not to mention the kind of fun you can have with maps and your phone's GPS capabilities. The same goes for social networks. Start a nature club and use a Facebook group page to organize outings. Then share photos from your outings afterwards. The possibilities are endless. The point is that technology can be a ball and chain that drags you away from the natural world, or it can empower you to go further and explore in ways you never thought possible. As usual, you can download the 5 tips graphic by clicking on the link below or on the infographic thumbnail. These are simple adjustments that people can make in their everyday lives that can make a major impact in the life of a child. So get out there today and get started. Together we can bring childhood back outside. Congratulations! You have just completed our free 5-part series, Let's Bring Childhood Back Outside. I hope you have found this information to be inspiring and empowering, and I wish you the very best in your work with children. And now, as promised, I have a special gift for you. Right next to this video is a button that says, Take Our Survey. This is a short survey to find out a little bit more about you and what you thought about this training program. And as a thank you gift for taking this survey, I will send you a link and a password where you can watch our feature-length documentary film, Nature Kids, for free. We have never shown Nature Kids for free before. You will be among the very first to take advantage of this opportunity to see the film that has been inspiring parents and educators around the world. Thank you again for watching. I'm Kenny Ballantyne, and I will see you outside.